welcome back, Greg. Thank you for joining me tonight on this wonderful, beautiful September night, I guess you could say. Well, welcome back to the Believe Me Don't podcast, where we've been pretty consistent. I've said that for the last few episodes, and it's been good, How's everyone doing? Doing great? Good. I had a good weekend. Um, those relaxing weekends of doing not a lot. It's always good. And parenthood, So shout out to doing nothing on the weekends. We did go to like a fall festival type deal, even though it's not fall in the state that I live in, because global warming and everything. Shout out to the people who believe in global warming and don't believe in global warming, and be wonderful if Mother Nature could fix her shit and make it fall already. Like, good lord. If you hear me drink, I'm sorry, I'm a little parched. Anyways, welcome back. Don't think anyone will join me tonight, which is perfectly fine. If they hop in, they hop in. I wanted to do an episode on the state of play, the PlayStation state of play that happened this past Wednesday. It was about a 35-ish minute showcase, not showcase, I guess a state of play, where PlayStation showed off some new gameplay of certain games. We got a lot of release dates, which is awesome to see, like actual dates, not just year. So, and quarter or whatever. So that was awesome to hear. Obviously, I'm a big PlayStation person. I am glad that they are deciding to move forward with, expanding into Xbox as well. For the last probably generation, their whole thing was release on their console, maybe PC a little bit later down the road. I think they saw that backfire for some games like Final Fantasy VII Remake and Rebirth, and I'm glad also with Square Enix, they are stepping up and telling PlayStation, they don't want to do that anymore. They want to be multi-platform. And I think that's what it should be. Certain games are going to sell well on PlayStation, like your God of Wars, your Last of Us, and things like that. But I think Final Fantasy, the direction that they went with the game overall, it didn't sell well just to the PlayStation audience. So I hope it comes sooner rather than later to Xbox. But I think Sony saw what Helldivers 2 did to the community, allowing Xbox for it to release over there. And Black Hammer and I we need to have an episode about that. I need to get with him, get his thoughts on Helldivers 2. But they actually saw an increase in the number of units sold on Xbox in the first few days versus PlayStation alone, and that's awesome to see. So I know there's reasons for exclusive, but Sony has been, regardless of me being unbiased, biased, or whatever towards PlayStation, they have been kicking Xbox's butt for the last few generations when it comes to console sales and whatnot, and exclusive games. So, but I know Xbox, what they have with Microsoft, they compete by selling Game Pass. And although I think PlayStation Plus and Essential Premium or whatever is a good deal, but it's nothing compared to Xbox Game Pass, unfortunately. So luckily I get to live the best of both worlds by having a PC to play the Xbox stuff and then a PlayStation to play my console exclusive. So Anyways, with all that being said, I just wanted to talk about what was shown at the State of Play. Like I said, it was about a 35-minute showing of first party games and whatnot. So we'll start it off. I did get to watch it live and everything for the most part. I did go back and rewatch it, but starting with one of their biggest games that are coming next year, they started out with gameplay of Saros, about a 5-minute gameplay. And if you know anything about Saros, it is the Housemarque people who I don't know them from, and Kiwi knows them from when the PS4 launched with Resogun. It was amazing. We loved that game. I still have it downloaded technically on my PS5 and randomly hop on there. I'm not good with it, but it's cool. And then they had award-winning game called Returnal that was like 4-ish years ago. And basically, to me, it looks like it's Returnal 2, and they're just going to refine some things. I can't remember the guy's name. He's a pretty good actor. He was in Dune. He is the one who's voicing the character and playing the character in Saros. But basically, the biggest thing that they showed off during the gameplay is you're getting a projectile absorbing shield, which is cool. You can absorb it and then send it back more powerful when you're attacking enemies. So then we did get an actual launch date, and it's going to be launching in March 2026, which is awesome because I know everyone next year, even this year, people were scared to put out their games because they were waiting on GTA 6. So now it was pushed back, and I don't think they've technically released the date for GTA 6, but they have a time frame, and I'm pretty sure it's fall, maybe, or maybe it was summer. I don't know, but I think this is a good date for this. So I look forward to playing it because I played a little bit of Returnal. I didn't complete it. The bullet hell genre, it's tough, and Returnal was, but I definitely, depending on, well, I'll be having a kid in March of next year. So might have to hold off on Saros for a little bit until I, recover from sleep. But maybe Jordan will play this game. Highly doubt it. But if he does, maybe I'll get him to stream it. So next up, we got Zero Parades for Dead Spies. I have no clue what this is, but it's made by the people who made Disco Elysium. I've heard great things about Disco Elysium just from the podcast I listened to and just overall on the internet. This doesn't look like my type of game, but if it does anything like Disco Elysium, I'm sure it will do great. It is set to launch in 2026. Didn't get a date on there, but we got a year, so that's good. So next up, we got the Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. This is great. That's another good thing. I think Sony took a leap by putting Helldivers 2 over to Xbox, and now PlayStation is getting Flight Simulator. I know, for whatever reason, there's an audience for these sim games of, Goat Simulator, pressure washing, mowing, tractor, and I know, their Flight Simulator is huge. If I like to fly planes, and I'm sure it would be awesome. But it is December 8th. It's coming out this year, December 8th. That's awesome. So next up, we had a trailer for Battlefield 6. They showed off their campaign. It's the first time that they've really showed off campaign mode. I'm not a big Battlefield fan, and I'm not going to knock them because I know how terrible Call of Duty has been. I don't play Call of Duties for the campaign. I'm not a teenager anymore. They're just boring to me. Like back in the day. I loved SOCOM, but that's the only real campaigns I would ever play. Like Medal of Honor, obviously, but you know, it looks great. I hope this Battlefield competes with Call of Duty in sales and player base, and it makes Activision step up their game because it's been awful. I know Black Hammer and I still haven't done an episode about Call of Duty or Warzone or the up and coming Black Ops 7. It's the same thing every single year with Call of Duty. Starts out great. You have that hype, that nostalgia to play Call of Duty. Get into the following year. It's the same thing, and no new content. Cheaters, hackers come back, and then you just fall into the cycle of like, this is shit, and then they build you back up. So Warzone is the only thing that hangs me on to playing that game, unfortunately, with Black Hammer. We need to get back into playing zombies, but it's just not the same. Like, it's not the same zombies. Obviously, we don't have time to explore the zombie maps and whatnot, but they're just not as fun. So I'm still looking forward to maybe whenever Microsoft decides to put the older Call of Duties on Game Pass. Black Ops 3 be wonderful for them to put the zombie maps on there. Be awesome, Anyways, Battlefield 6 comes out October 10th. Next up, we had Days X remastered. It's a full remaster. It's a classic PC shooter. I never played Days X, but I know was an audience. It still is an audience. I'm sure it's like a cult classic. Apparently, they're celebrating their 25th anniversary. So it is launching February 5th, 2026. Next up, for whatever reason, I'm not sure who is asking for this. Halloween the game. Freaking Michael Myers. Like, if you're into these games, like, Friday or, Friday 13th. No. Yeah, Friday the 13th, I think they had a game. Horror games are one thing. This is probably like a weekend type game. I hope they don't put a lot of money into this because it can't last, in my opinion. Anyways, this game launches September 8th, 2026. That is a long-ass time from when the state of play happened for them to just randomly throw out a specific date. Not just the year, but a specific date. So, I'm sure people will find fun in this. Next up, we had the Last Epoch. It is showing off the Adventure's first expansion, Ouroboros. I think it's like a Diablo. It competed or still is or whatnot with Diablo, but it's not looking as demonic. So they didn't really show off a date for this one, but like I said, it's a first expansion, and it's going to launch on PS5 the same day as other platforms. So luckily, it's not an exclusive to PlayStation. It's going to launch on everything, and whenever it does, it'll be the exact same day, whenever that may be. Next up, we got another trailer for Sonic Racing Crossworlds. I know the game's already out, but they showed off DLC essentially with Mega Man, Proto Man, and a new course based on Willy's Fortress, which this DLC will launch next year. That's pretty insane that you literally just launch a game and already talking about the DLC. I know it's a kart racer, but still. Then we got a pretty cool trailer from Koei Tecmo showing off Neo 3, and we got a release date of February 6th, 2026. I've never played the Neo series. I think Cypher and maybe even Jordan has, and I think Cypher is a really big fan of this. It's a Souls-like game, but I think it's more cinematic. than most Souls games are. So it looks awesome. I highly doubt I ever get to it, unfortunately, but I hope it does well. Next up, we got Dynasty Warriors 3 Complete Edition Remaster. That is a lot of words for a single title, bro. Is another 25th anniversary thing being shown off. I never was a Dynasty Warrior fan. They looked neat to begin with because it's literally you're just a samurai and you're just killing waves of enemies with like your big ass pole, I guess you would say. I don't know the actual Japanese name for the weapon that they use, but the remaster version of it looks great. I don't know who except for just Dynasty Warrior fans are going to play this. So it launches March 19th, 2026. Then we got a trailer for Code Vein 2. It's a Bandai game. I don't know the Code Vein. Never played the other Code Vein. It's a very anime style game. I'm sure there's a lot of fans out there to play this. So it launches January 30th, 2026. Then there was Let It Die Inferno. Don't know what this is. It's a extra action game. That's literally what it says in quotations on this article from GameSpot. Extra action game. Players will control customizable raiders and explore a massive crater filled with loot and danger. Cool. What does extra action game mean? How could there be extra action to an action game? Wouldn't it just be action to the action game? How do you add extra? Anyways, comes out December 3rd. I'm sure it'll be wonderful. Probably not. Next up, this was a surprise. Not a surprise. You find sometimes in these showcases, you find like little gems. Like in the Nintendo Direct one, we had that Chronicles or something of Elliot. That one looked really neat. This one right here is called Chronoscript: The Endless End. It's really cool because it reminds me a little bit of the Elliot game on the during the Nintendo Direct, but also Plucky Squire. I played that this year, or was it last year? Where you were kind of hopping in and out of a book. The animation looks awesome on this game. It's a 2D adventure with striking visual style. The game follows a lost soul who must escape from the pages of an endless storybook. Chronoscript launches in 2026. It looks neat. We'll see if I play it. It just depends on the time of when it comes out and what I'm doing. If there's anything other, I'm going to kind of prioritize around raising the children. Then we got another trailer for Crimson Desert. This was supposed to come out this year, but I think it was pushed back due to their ambition of the game, because it's a massive RPG. It looks awesome. It kind of reminds me of like a Skyrim type deal. But we got a release date of March 19th, 2026. So, hope it does well. And of course, Sony, they plug sometimes they'll plug VR games, sometimes they'll plug hardware, and they chose to plug this spot with their new speakers called Pulse Elevate wireless speakers. Looks cool, but I'm not sure anyone these days, and I could be wrong, maybe there is more on the casual side that has their man caves or rooms set up that they're going to actually have speakers like this, surround sound, to play their games. I just choose to play with the headset mainly because I don't want to wake up the child but also I think it sounds better. It's right in your ears versus if you get speakers, you just have a lot of noise spread out. And I could be completely wrong. It's been a very long time since I played a game with a setup like that and just open sound. So looks neat. They didn't talk about the price. I'm sure it's over $100 for these two little things, but it's set to launch in 2026. Then they talked about PlayStation Plus games coming. Sounds like for October we're going to get Alan Wake 2, which is coming October 7th, along Last of Us Part 2, the remastered version, and two fighters from Bandai, which is awesome, Tekken 3 and Soul Calibur 3. I loved the Soul Calibur series. Back in the day, whenever I would go to arcades and stuff, I would seek out Soul Calibur because it had some of the coolest characters. Shout out to my boy Siegfried. I played the crap out of Soul Calibur. I think Tekken, outside of Mortal Kombat, was one of my first fighters as well. And I love Tekken too. So next up, we got them talking about Gran Turismo 7, but also the entire series of Gran Turismo apparently has reached 100 million units sold throughout its lifetime. That's awesome. I played the original Gran Turismo on like a demo disc for the PlayStation when it came out. It was awesome. I'm not a big racer fan to begin with. They just get super boring to me. Like Need for Speed back in the day was cool, but it's very repetitive. And I know you could say that about any game, but racers as well. But I know there's a huge audience for Gran Turismo. And then alongside talking about how many units they sold, they talked about the next update for Gran Turismo 7 called Spec 3. It's going to come with 2 new racetracks, 8 new vehicles, and this is coming in December of this year. Then, of course, we get a tease because there's been so much rumor about a God of War 2D game, roguelike game, or just the remasters of God of War 1 through 3, or a new God of War game. It's Ragnarok came out 2 years ago at this point, I think. Hold on. God of War, no, 3 years ago. So we had the reboot of God of War 2018. And then Ragnarok came out in 2022. So it's been 3 years, and we haven't heard anything from Santa Monica. I don't know if they are wanting to continue the franchise. I know their whole thing is they basically put a new director on each game. I don't know if that's slowing it down or they're just choosing to do a different project, which is perfectly fine. If I was Sony, I'd be pushing to do God of War, keep it going. Even just even a remaster of 1 through 3, that'd be sick as shit. But here they choose to fill it with God of War 20th anniversary, of course, controller. It's literally the PS5 controller, but with the his mark on his face. So I'm not, looks okay. And then the biggest rumor that's been for a while now, we got Marvel's Wolverine from Insomniac. Insomniac Games has been killing it this generation alone with Spider-Man Remaster, Miles Morales, Ratchet and Clank, and now we're going to get a Wolverine game. This trailer was one of the bloodiest trailers I've ever seen. Like, and it had to be. Because there's no way to spin a Wolverine game without making it bloody and gory as possible. Like they're following the comics of how, you know, gory the true Logan was, and it looks amazing. I'm curious about what the gameplay loop will be, how the zones will be, because with Spider-Man's, you have the entirety of New York to web around. With Wolverine, he clearly can't fly. He can't. I think he can jump technically, like pretty big, but he's not gonna do like Hulk level jumps. But it does, from the trailer, it looks like we're going at least some of his iconic places he has gone in the movies. So I think there's like a Japan, a Canada one. So it looks amazing. I can't wait to play it. I'm sure it'll be fun as hell. I think they didn't show off a release date, but they talked about a window of 2026 fall. It's going to be kind of unfortunate to be right around the same time as GTA 6. However, this is a different audience. The superhero audience, as long as it's good, they'll have enough people. I hope it releases with PC as well, because if it doesn't, that's going to be unfortunate. Like I said, they need to change their strategies and at least release it with PC and whatnot. So, and funny enough, or odd enough, I guess you could say, the person who's playing Logan or voicing Logan is Liam McIntyre, the guy who plays Spartacus in the HBO series that's now on Netflix. I love that series. He replaced the guy, I think after like season 2 or 3. I think the guy passed away, but this guy is awesome. I think he's going to do an amazing job, because Insomniac has been, like I said, killing it this generation. So I hope they do a Venom game, like a true Venom game too. I know Venom is technically in Spider-Man 2, but like an actual Venom, like the one that Tom Hardy has been playing for the last couple movies. So yeah, that was it for the state of play. Overall, I think it was a decent one. To start out with Soros gameplay to show off how awesome that is, I think piqued everybody's interest just enough to keep them along the way to continue to watch this. And luckily for these state of plays, they're usually fairly short compared to like Nintendo Directs and Xbox showcases and things like that. So, most of these games don't appeal to me necessarily. But to open it with Soros gameplay and to end it with finally to talk about Wolverine, I think it was a decent state of play for sure. So I'm thinking, like, if you're out of a 10, thinking like a 6.5 to 7-ish. So, I long for the day for them to talk about freaking Final Fantasy VII Part 3 whenever the name, showing off everything that they're going to do, and mainly the release date. They've been having interviews with the director for Final Fantasy VII, and they keep saying that it's, there's actually playable areas in the builds that they got, and it's going smoothly. And they're not worried about the sales for Rebirth. And, they're releasing Remake Intergrade on the Switch too. and hopefully Rebirth as well next year to boost those sales. So, and then, if Capcom ever wants to step up their game and finally do a Dino Crisis remaster remake, that would be neat. And then the literal impossible that'll never happen in my entire lifetime, my children's lifetime, and their children, if they choose to have any, their lifetime, a Legend of Dragoon remaster remake. It's a hidden gem, guys. Like, just remake it. Just do it. And also Final Fantasy IX. Like, where's that at? It's the last game on the Nvidia leak that hasn't been released or shown. So, Square, it's about time, guys. Let's start showing some stuff. But yeah, it was a decent state of play. I know. Also during this week was Tokyo Game Show or Game Fest or whatever. I don't think there was a lot shown off. If I think Xbox had the biggest. I'm gonna go back and rewatch or watch their little thing at Tokyo Game Show. See if that's worth an episode. Probably not, but if there is, I'll definitely make one. So I guess the next big, video game showcase or whatever event is going to be the Game Awards in December. And, this 2025 has been an amazing year for games, not even in the AAA standpoint. I'm currently playing Hollow Knight, not Silksong, but Hollow Knight. And if I see why so many people love Hollow Knight, and I've seen the craze for Silksong. Personally, Clear Obscure 33 is still mine Game of the Year. But I've talked it over, with Jordan. He agrees, but at the same time, I think the world can agree that we wouldn't be upset if Silksong wins, even though it's a sequel and they just shadow dropped it and everything like that. The love and care that has gone into both of those games, it's worth both of them to get their praise. And on top of that, Hades 2 is released now. So three of the top games this year are not AAA. They cost $50 or less. One's on Game Pass, or two of them on Game. Actually, they're all three on Game Pass. All three are on Game Pass. So, go out and play those games. I look forward to watching the Game Awards. Hopefully, Claire Obscure pulls it off. But Silksong, you got my okay. Not like what happened with last year with Rebirth and Astrobot. Unfortunately, I loved Astrobot, but I don't think it deserved it. I think Rebirth did. Anyways, I will end it there. Thank you for anyone who does listen. Please give us feedback, comments, concerns. Tell us how shit we are. I don't really care. It's cool. Tell anybody who also wants to listen. I know we're not the best when it comes to producing content, quality content, but it's just one person, sometimes a few people coming on and just talk about their thoughts in video games, because that's the world that we choose to explore majority of the time during our free time. So thank you for listening, and we'll hopefully have another episode out soon. But remember, you can continue to believe us if you don't.